Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grand Archive Regionals 2 Electric Boogaloo. So it is fantastic Sunday afternoon, and we are doing Regionals again. Another one. This is by Fortress from Green Hills. So this is a smaller player count than yesterday. We're only 100 players, that is just enough to hit the backup charger. So, or 16, top 16. So, a lot of familiar faces. Pretty much everyone who was here yesterday, who was a big contender, is here again. So, just checking out who the stream. Ooh, it seems like the stream table is going to be the player who was second place yesterday. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, based on what we've seen from the previous day, I think we can say that there are a few decks that need to be looked out for. The main one being Wind Astra. It had a huge showing yesterday. It wasn't overwhelming, like half of top 16 was all on Wind Astra, but it was a lot. And between that and the water decks, whether it's the Arsana waters or the Nikos or the Tamers, like Sylvie, water mill decks, those were the main things. But there was also quite a fair bit of wind allies. It was like 2 or 3 wind allies from yesterday, and then there was 1 water allies players. So 1 Tristan, a lot of variety really. But the main decks I think right now in this meta are Wind Astra, and I guess if you just bunch them all up, all the water decks as a whole. I mean, obviously, Nico and Arsana and Sylvie all play really differently, but if you just bunch them up as like these Icebound, Crackle of Rain kind of decks, they play pretty similarly, just with different little flavors, different strengths and weaknesses. So, checking out, we're gonna move over to the game table here. Oh yeah, sorry, I guess I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Flon again. If you were here yesterday, it's just me again. I hope you are not sick of hearing me, because I know I am. So we have Bldg, he was second place in the previous, yesterday, he got second place. So on Wind Allies. And his opponent is JP. I'm not sure what his deck is. Let me see if I have been given the deck lists. Nope, not yet. So, I mean, Sylvie sleeves. Listen, if there's one thing I've learned is that if you use character sleeves, they're never playing the deck that matches their sleeves. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. I don't know if it's some psychological warfare where you just feel like busting out like Merlin sleeves, but you're playing Wind Astra, playing Sylvie sleeves, but you're playing Wind Allies or something. It happened. Oh wow, look at that. Tristan sleeves versus Sylvie sleeves. It's the Rico battle here. And I want to bet that neither of these players are playing either of these decks, but we'll see. So we're just gonna shuffle up. Yeah, so Davey was on Wind Allies, but it's the variant in particular was a lot of automaton stuff. So more of the like the Shimmer Cloaks, the Andronicas, stuff like that. So I mean, allies, I think a lot of people are down on allies just because Polaris is a hell of a card, and the water decks just have such beefy allies that are difficult to get rid of. So I get why people are kind of down on it, but the decks still have the high roll potential of just winning games and making a really big board that's hard to out. So yeah, I'm curious to see what ends up happening in this game. And see that round 1 is starting. Both players are just gonna quickly cut each other's decks, and then we're gonna move straight into it. You can see from the player cam, Davey Do is he was like in like pajamas yesterday. He has like the eye mask and he had like pajamas on, and I'm like, This is like such an interesting concept for with like fluffy slippers and pajamas with an eye mask. I'm like, hell yeah. Okay. I'm gonna come in here with a 9, 2. Ooh, no. They hit equal numbers. 5, low roll. And 8. All right, so JP gets to go first here, and he actually is playing Sylvie. Okay, well, never mind. Sylvie sleeves with a Sylvie deck, and I see Wind Spirit on Dave's side, so that's. I mean, I assume he's playing the same deck as yesterday, but maybe decide to switch it up. A lot of players from yesterday decide to just switch decks, either for fun or because they didn't perform as they expected in the previous day. So, Baby Gray, is there a cake, though? Seems like no. Lustrous. Interesting to show that. Actually, Wind Allies versus Lustrous. That's kind of a problem for them, unless you have that Dream Fairy. Ooh, Double Gray is... It's interesting, because I don't know if he had another ally in hand, so if he goes up to level 1 Sylvie and he doesn't have an ally, then he's just wasting the buff counter. So I wonder if maybe it would have been more apt to hold this Baby Gray. And yeah, it's Wind Allies. You can see there's the Charge Mannequins. So this is very much an automaton base deck. Also on things like the Second Winds. So we can just like get a really like, big rallied advance turn on a buffed ally. Lurking is a pretty good one. I wonder if he's going to attack with it or just leave it awake. I mean, at this point, you can pretty much guarantee that these slimes are going to die. Considering the fact that there's not enough cards in hand to really do much. The only thing you'd... Ooh, Smacking Face, but it's going to get intercepted. I actually wouldn't have taken that intercept. I would have let it hit. Let him hit face, because in that situation, having an extra ally on board might make the difference. If you have any one power ally gets a buff counter, becomes a 2 power ally, you can clear one of them. I think the really important card in this matchup is definitely Baby Red. If we can hit Baby Red with a buff counter, and then, or if we get Baby Red that can discard a fire card, we can easily chip away at an ally board and help us get to our level 2 and 3. But then eventually we have to go to Lustrous. Lustrous is kind of the linchpin of everything. Obviously, Ethereal Storm are all still important. I see some Dave fans here. Hope you can cheer for him. Do you think he's going to get a... You know, he was second place yesterday. Is he going to get first place now? Here goes Sylvie 1. Hopefully... Okay, I think that was Lustrous. Yep, that was Lustrous. I'm going to hope that he has an ally, though, because I feel like he didn't have one. A playable ally, rather. Looking like a no. Draw. And displace. Yeah, he actually doesn't have an ally. Wait, no, he has a Baby Gray, right? Slime Shield. Oh, no, he doesn't. It's like Lustrous King, Slime Shield. I guess he could Dungeon Guide the 2, but that doesn't seem worth it. And now you're staring down Gildas Lurking. That's not a good situation to be in at all here. Is there top 8 or 16 pricing or only champion? No, top 16. Top 16 gets backup charger. And packs. Depending on your placing, you get more packs and stuff. But generally, the important thing is the backup charger. So as long as you're 16th place, you're happy. Oh, that's a second wind. Gildas might be able to swing for 1 million here. Oh, the life counters are off screen. I'll ask him to change that later. But he took 1 earlier from Gildas, so... Or no, he took 0 last turn because it was double intercept. So 2 Gildas into second wind here would do another 10. Pretty beefy. Seems like, yeah, this is why I was saying that maybe playing double Baby Gray there was a bit reckless. Normally I just hold Baby Grays because if I only have one or two, I only have two allies. It's like there's no way you're going to risk not having the ability to draw another one. Especially considering you're playing Wind Sylvie, it doesn't have like gathers. Okay, we're gonna get the second wind swing. Wait. I'm not entirely sure what. Okay, so I think it was, yeah, it was Gilda's swing, Gilda's. Gilda second wind, Gilda. So that should be 10 damage, and then he pops ring, and then gonna play another ally. Oh my god, that's a... Actually, there's a rallied advance, though. Not really... I'm not sure if it's really worth rallied advancing Gilda's, considering she is no longer balanced. Maybe just play this Vanguard, and then... I mean, at that point, he's taken 12 damage. Next turn, he's just dead if he has no way of clearing this board. Yeah, like this is a pretty non-functioning hand. It's Dungeon Guide, Displace, Slime Shield, Bird. If he goes Dungeon Guide Displace, then that would take 7 cards. If he goes Backup Charger or GCR into Dungeon Guide Displace, I want to say he can still have enough cards for the... Okay, Tariff Ring definitely helps. Ooh, okay, we drew an ally, but nothing good to bounce here. We're basically gonna have to target our own Tariff Ring. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a good path here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 8 cards in hand, so he could do Dungeon Guide Displace and get straight to level 3. Which would also leave him with 1 card in hand to play Ethereal Slime. Which you can see it. He's already moving them over. Actually, no, he wouldn't have enough, I think, to play a slime. This is unfortunate. And now he just has to target his own Tariff Ring. It's a mandatory effect. He has to do it. I mean, it will come back in the end phase. This doesn't really make a difference. And then Dungeon Guiding in order to get an extra draw. There is a big risk here that you lose that ethereal. I definitely feel that there's a world where you just die here, though. Next turn. Rallied Advance is in hand, which means you could go Poison Coating Oil, swing with the Lurking for 4, and then Rallied Advance. That's 5. Well, I guess you have to go Lorraine 1 still, but there's definitely a million ways that this could go wrong on JP's side. So Davey Do onto a strong start already. We're going to kill the Swift Recruit, which is giving a float, which means it's very easy to just level up here. All right, there's the Tariff Ring. So we probably do survive. And then as long as this Dungeon Guide doesn't die, then we just displace it next turn. Seems like we're going Lorraine 1. What are we going to bring out? We're going to bring out the gun. One of the old innovations back from a Sentai page, just using a gun in Lorraine. Lorraine doesn't specifically say it has to be a sword. It can be anything. Any weapon, rather. So you can bring out the gun. You just can't shoot it because you don't have a bullet. But eventually, next turn, you just keep materializing. It was usually Wind Cutter because it's the most powerful bullet in terms of attack that's free. Does have a gather at least. That's very helpful. Fortunately, can't play it this turn unless there's like a ring. Seems like... Also, the Tariff is definitely going to get in the way here. I think you have to pop the Tariff. There's just too many ways that you die if you don't. 11 damage, especially with a Gildas already on field. On its own, already threatens. Okay, Bullet. Gonna pop the Tariff. So we're fine on that end. Has a stifling trap, actually. That's that's scary, but at the same time, if Davy is gonna continue to play the same way he has been in these past few turns, where he's just been going complete hands down, maybe there's a opportunity for JP to get that displace on the Dungeon Guide off. Buy an Ascent promo, win Spirit, and then play Wind Ally so you never have to level up. Yeah, honestly, one of the big things about the spirits that is a bit unfortunate is you don't really see them a lot if you level up. So also, if you like playing Serene or Fragmented Spirit, oh, you can't use your fancy spirit anymore, which kind of sucks, but it's just the way the world works, I guess. We're gonna go 2 down. We're gonna swing. Okay, we're just attacking through the Tower Frame. Gonna hold up enough for the Stifling Trap. I mean, this Dungeon Guide has to get displaced, but then the Stifling Trap is there. Which means unless... I don't think there's a way that Jay can dodge this Stifling Trap, so... Let's see. Smoke Bombs. Smoke Bombs is an unusual choice in a Sylvie deck. I have a feeling JP might not might be a newer player. I'm not familiar with him, but yeah, I think he might be a newer player. So perhaps his deck is still a little bit incomplete. I'm gonna use this on the Lurking. I mean, Smoke Bombs it's just filter. In the end, it's 1 for 1. I think trying to figure out something about the stealth, it seems. Okay, so we do have ooh, yeah, I mean the only thing we really can do is displace here. Going upstairs, not another ally to kill one of these with. And then yeah, we're just gonna displace this DG. I mean, at this point, you don't really have another option, but if you do that, you are getting owned by the Stifling Trap, unfortunately. Yeah, seems like he's going for it. This is going to immediately get suppressed and then return. On enter will trigger once again. And Stifling Trap. Yeah, and that's kind of all you got. You can pop the Smoke Bomb, get a draw, and then play this Gather. But we're gonna play Blissful Calling instead. You're gonna check the top 5 cards of your deck and then add an animal or beast from among them into your hand. And there's a Storm, there's an Ethereal, there's a Limitless. I mean, obviously you want to add Storm and Ethereal, but in this situation you might have to add Limitless. But that's assuming you're gonna make it to the next turn, which quite frankly I don't really see how. Davy is most assuredly probably gonna bring out the bullet next turn and then just swing with everything. As long as there's still a Vanguard. There's a Wind Rider Vanguard. Oh, Poison Coating Oil works too. Rallied Advance. Yes, we're gonna go Poison Coating Oil on Lurking while he is still stealth. Gets +2. Swing for 4. Rallied Advance. Swing for 4 again. So boom, that's 4 damage, and then Rallied Advance is able to restand this Lurking. Oh, we're going to Balance Gildas first. So Balance Gildas, swing for 4, and you're dead. We don't even have to do the Rallied Advance shenanigans. Yeah, I mean, that's just it's kind of an unfortunate set of circumstances. I do want to go back to that Baby Gray start of the game. Not being able to get that buff counter really hurts. But yeah, I mean, sometimes that's just how these decks are. I mean, I've seen these these like Nico players that level up to 1 and then don't have a bovine or a terrapin. Same thing with Sylvie. It's quite rare, but there are moments where that happens. So we're gonna move on to game 2 here. When it comes to Wind Allies versus Sylvie, I think most people would say that Sylvie would be favored because one, she has lots of healing with Gather, but she also has lots of defensive cards. She has Covenant. She also has really strong allies, and especially once you bring out Lustrous, it becomes really hard to win. That's why these Wind Ally decks basically have to kill you as soon as possible. And Dave's version of the deck is the kind that is better at doing that because it plays things like Second Wind, it plays things like the Rallied Advances to go for like really big burst turns. And unless the Sylvies are playing a card like Resolute Stand or some removal, I know some Sylvies have been on Nascent Blast lately, which is a bit of an unusual addition, but it's a fast speed 3 damage ping. So for decks like this that are trying to go for big, tall damage OTK lines, just kill the ally, all damage is gone. So, ooh, letting Dave go first, I do not really like that. Allies you'd think want to go second so they can get they can attack, but in this case it's actually not very good for you because one, Sylvie is a very weak deck at level 0. Like obviously everyone can think about Cake, Gray, but then she doesn't actually do anything. She has strong openers, but they only start getting active when she is level 1. So giving your opponent tempo, especially the ally decks where they can just stick a Gildas and just sit on her, and it's very hard for you to be able to remove that as a turn 1 Sylvie. So I don't really like letting allies go first. There is a Gray in here. I don't think I see... Oh, there's an escape? I mean, this could be a classic Gray into escape. It's a very common play here. It seems like that's what Jay is going for. Could play out this Cake as well. Letting the aggro go first, yeah. Yeah, then we just go Cake and we get to hold and escape the wreckage. So if Dave has a Stifling, or I think Stifling's really the only thing it could possibly be. No one would play like Tempest Downfall, probably 9 and Wind. And yeah, we just sit on this. This is a really good start actually. Cake, Gray, and Escape, all really strong. But if there is a Stifling, it gets pretty punished because Escape, unlike cards like Reclaim, Escape only gets that draw effect if the ally goes back. So if the ally gets removed by, say, a Siphoning Trap or an Ignite the Soul or Refracting Missiles, you don't actually get the draw. So you essentially just -1 yourself. And is there anything? I don't actually see one. So I don't see a Stifling in there, but there's a Fairy Whispers. So in this case, he's hitting. It seemed like he was saying he wants to hit face. So what you do is you intercept it and then you just escape the wreckage. And then next turn we get to play a Gray with a buff counter. You give the Cake to it, and it's a 3, so it can kill any ally. Oh, just letting it go. Interesting. I mean, I was saying that in the previous game, he should have let that lurking, that attacked face just go, instead of intercepting, he should just let it hit to preserve one of the allies. But in this situation, because you have escape, unless he's not planning on using the escape this turn. Ooh, Andronica. Or not Andronica, sorry. Eternal Magistrate. So another card we haven't seen in a while. Eternal Magistrate, her whole shtick is that if she's imbued, you cannot bring cards out of your material deck outside of the materialization phase, which basically means Dungeon Guide, and in case of Sylvie, things like the Gaia's Blessing. You can't actually use the Ethereal Slime effect to banish a card from your material deck as well. You can't bring out Polaris in the main phase. Basically anything like that. Wait, there's a second one. Okay. I mean, now for sure, we're really not. And we're just going to keep hitting phase. I mean, if you want to start chipping away at these, you do need to escape this baby gray back so that he can start getting buff counters. Unless you draw a better ally, like a baby red right now would be really good. Even a limitless would be fine in this situation. You know, Sylvie won. He put it on top of his slime. I mean, you gotta play the escape here. You just gotta. Oh, okay, there's a baby green. That also works. Baby green gonna get the buff counter from Sylvie, which lets it hit that magic breakpoint of 3 with the baby gray. If we have another ally, then we can also go for that. This is a pretty good start. I wonder if he wants to hold this escape the wreckage for dungeon guide actually, to try and dodge a stifling. It's kind of hard to do that because they're both 3 costs. And we also have to remove these Andronicas first before we can even think about that. Sorry, I don't know why I keep calling it Andronica. Eternal Magistrate. It's been a while since I've seen the automatons. Looking at the hand, it's Slime Shield, Lustrous, D-Guide, Terrasites. Terrasite's another card that's a bit of a personal preference. I think it's a bit slow in this meta. Blissful is obviously another just easy option to get some cards in memory. We just get to hold this escape for as long as we want. I mean, we definitely have to kill one of these Eternal Magistrates at least. Or if he wants to, he can Dungeon Guide. He can Dungeon Guide to... Wait a minute. Okay, so if we're gonna play... the... So we're swinging at... What, Magistrate here? Slime Shield? To get a buff counter? Gonna use Blissful. Check the top 5. There is a Baby Red. Baby Red really, really good at clearing away ally boards. Unfortunately, we don't have the cake to give it, unless he has a fire card already in hand, like an Eruption, but I did not remember seeing one. Having a little bit of a think here on what to add. Just a bit of a weird situation. I definitely think, I mean, Limitless also okay, but yeah, I think this is correct. Because next turn at level 2, you can at least do the, you can use the cake with the Baby Red here. Well, I just need to review something because I feel like I missed something that is kind of relevant here. I'm gonna play the red, draw this card. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask. I'm gonna go off for a bit because I need to I need to talk to the judges about something. Sorry. Yeah, but sorry, I'm gonna explain again what happened. The Sylvie player had displaced in his deck, but he's playing normal Slime Spirit. So, and I didn't notice until he drew Gather Slimes, because his whole hand was normal and Wind cards. So I assumed he was playing Water Sylvie, or no, Wind Sylvie, but he was actually playing normal Slime, but he had displace. So it only clicked in my head once he hit game 2. So they're gonna give him a warning, because in game 1 he already lost. So, but game 2 he technically hadn't played it yet. So we're just gonna move on, and he's just gonna have to play the entire tournament with displace in his deck that he can't play. So hope that clears things up a bit, because it seemed like no one noticed in the chat either. Cause I don't know, I wasn't really thinking about it, and then I was like, wait, there's a displace here. Okay, Andronica can come down. I mean, this is pretty strong. Andronica probably gonna give that buff counter. Gave it to, seems like it's on Shimmer Cloak. So if we can get to level 3 here, the dungeon guide is in hand, but there is a stifling I think. So we're gonna play the Andronica, so she has vigor, she has a lot of attack. We can basically just clear out this whole field if we want to. Now, can he kill? I don't think with only 2 cards left in hand, I don't think so. But let's see. So are we just gonna clear board? No, we're just gonna hit face. I mean, it's an aggro deck. You hit face. Only has 2 cards in hand, so I don't think it's enough. Because Andronica would swing for 3 on her own, and then the Magistrate. Also, oh, okay, the Magistrate got a buff counter. Oh, there's a lot of buff counters I feel right now. That's 4 to face. Shimmer Cloak gonna come in for another. Does this Shimmer Cloak have a buff counter plus the ornamental? So that would be another 4. And then Magistrate swings in for 2. So it's still alive. Yeah, okay, we gotta kill Baby Red. You can't leave the slime on field. It does too much. Too much. Oh, Slime Shield. Okay. Slime Shield would give it a prevention of 3 plus a buff counter, which means that the Magistrate would do 2 damage. So there's currently still 3 life left on it. It says 1 prevention and 2 health. So this. Oh, the Power Cell gonna come in. Get +2. That will be enough. Of course, this is gonna turn off our charged mannequins, which is a bit unfortunate, but okay, no. Instead, we're just gonna go for the Fairy Whispers. Gonna probably just add this Zephyr, maybe the Swift Recruit. So this slime in total should have 3 prevention and 2 life, and the Magistrate swings for 2, right? Because it has a buff counter, so it'll have in total 3 left. So Andronica should be able to clean it up. Or we can also just swing with the sword. So yeah, we're gonna clean up the Baby Red, and then we're gonna use the ornamental to kill 1. So we are getting the draw though. So and he went hands down. As long as the dungeon guide in the memory doesn't get banished, I think JP is in a decent spot. Yeah, so he's thinking here. Yeah, so unfortunately, oh, there is no dungeon guide. Never mind. Oh, I mean, you can see the displace in his hand, and it's like, bit unfortunate to have. I wonder how many copies of displace he's even playing, because that'd be quite unfortunate. Oh wait, why am I even talking about dungeon guide? There's still a Magistrate on field. I mean, it shouldn't be hard to kill at this point, though. Just any ally plus the green should be able to clear it. Okay, losing a Lustrous and an Escape. I'm still curious why we didn't play that Escape earlier. There were so many opportunities. We're gonna get the draw off the Sylvie 2. Did he get the draw off Sylvie 2? Or is he not drawn for turn yet? I mean, unfortunately, sometimes these things do happen. First rounds of tournaments, usually anyone can be there. So it's like if you have a player's a bit more inexperienced, can just get put in a awkward spot where they have to be on like a feature match, especially playing against a deck that's difficult like this to deal with. Actually, there was a Dungeon Guide, yeah, but unfortunately, Dungeon Guide can't really do much with a Eternal Magistrate on field. I think he missed the draw on the Sylvie too. Yeah, I think he missed the draw on the Sylvie too. Fortunately, it's a bit difficult for me to talk with the judge staff. Give me a second to make sure I'm not hallucinating here. Just give me a sec. All right, so unfortunately, the magistrate really just kind of holding this fort down. Right? So I mean, at this point, we can survive, but like what do we do? We're just bleeding cards and we're constantly at the verge of death. Can't level up to 3 because the magistrate is just making life hard. So this is gonna come in for 5. Second wind. Going to give it another. So now it's coming in for 6 actually. And then swings again for another 6, and you're right there at the verge of death. I mean, we basically can't. We just have to hard level. Even a tariff is not going to save you at this point. Any ally swing finishes you off. Eruption coming a bit late for that one. Fortunately, I don't think it can really kill anything here. All these allies have a lot of life from all these buff counters, so there's also, yeah, this Displace in hand that doesn't do anything. There's a Dungeon Guide that doesn't do anything. An Eruption, and I think a Terracite or a Bird. So I think there might not even really be anything he can play at this point. So I think Dave's definitely got this one in the bag, unless I just don't see how the tariff can save you here. Yeah, looking at his hand, thinking about what he's got, like checking the amount of slime cards in his graveyard. maybe could try and... There's just Shimmercloak with 3 life. That's an Andronica with 4. That's a Magistrate with 4. So I don't think there's really anything you can kill. Also, this Andronica should have bigger. Should be awake, but I believe that is considered a miss trigger now. We're going to play Eruption. Now in... Is this Recollection? 1, 2. You cannot banish non-allies. Let me just make sure about that one. Alright, give me a sec. Sorry about that one. Yeah, I think it's just unfortunately I have a player who's maybe a little bit newer, so just making a lot of small mistakes. Use the slime eruption and the bashing the slime shield. So that is not allowed because slime shield or slime eruption only allows you to throw slime allies. The card would actually be really strong if it didn't, because all these gatherers stuck in your graveyard would be... Imagine. I wish Rai had a card that was like Slime Eruption, but for arcane spells, actually. But yeah, I mean, the Slime Eruption, I mean, you still activated it, so it's still gonna go through, and it didn't kill anything. Tariff's gonna come down. Actually, in this situation, there's basically nothing you can do. Yeah, this is it. So, sorry that the game was a little bit messy. You know, this is what happens a lot of times with game ones. They can be a little bit... You know, we might get players that are still newer to the game, and obviously, you know, it's not like nothing. There's nothing wrong with not knowing your deck like inside and out, like every single little nuance thing. Sometimes, you know, everyone knows card game players don't read, so yeah, I mean, I still appreciate Jay for coming on because he doesn't have to. You can always refuse to go on stream if you don't want to, but yeah, so pretty decisive win on Dave's part here. We're gonna go to lunch break after this, so not much left. There's still 25 minutes of the round, but then we're gonna go to lunch break, so it's gonna be a bit of a long break. So maybe we'll see you in about an hour or more. Fortunately, that's just that's how we do things here in the Philippines. We always have lunch breaks that are kind of long. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a long break, but hopefully you guys come back when we get to round 2. So this is a 7-round event, just like yesterday. And it's gonna probably be a long day. I think yesterday I think we ended around 10. So it's gonna be another long day. And you know, if you just want to hang out and chill and watch some good Grand Archive, hopefully you come back later. So I'm gonna just head on to break, and I'll see you in a bit. Oh my god, I didn't realize I was muted this whole time. Anyway, I wasn't saying anything that important. So, I'm not sure what these players are playing. So we'll just find that out together. And we'll see. We're just waiting. The timer has, in fact, started. So both players are going to start up here. And that is looks like that means Lunia going to go first in this spot. Let's see what it is. Oh. Wind fragmented. What is that? I mean, it's got to be Astra, right? That's kind of like an Astra thing. And I see Astra card. So it is Wind Astra. The new deck that everyone is kind of targeting. We're going to ship these two Astra cards to the bottom. That's pretty standard. Fertile Grounds in the opening hand, I think. That seemed like a Fertile Grounds. Very good if... Oh, there's a Fertile Ground. So we're going to bring Fragmented Shard, Fragmented Shard, Spirit Shard. And then we're going to start... I imagine we're just going to go for the immediate Fertile Grounds and then just try and get to level 2 and start drawing infinite cards. Beseeching to 1? What? That's weird. I don't see that kind of play often. Usually Beseech is used for Polaris or Astroscope. So a Beseech to 1 is quite unusual. I would have definitely expected at least... If you're going to use that Beseech, I thought you would go Fertile and then Beseech to 2, maybe, so that you can start getting the draws, but 5 and a 3, so that is a Silver Shine and a Razor Vine. I always get the 5 and 6 ones mixed up. You know, let's confirm which one is which. Okay, Razor Vine is the 5, which would mean that Springleaf is the 6. Alright, so did not bring out Polaris, actually. Oh, it's Fire Xander. Uh-oh. This is a scary matchup for sure. Especially Beseech turn 1, it's a -1. Actually, technically a -2, because you have to level up 2. So without a lot of cards in hand to work with, I'm curious if he's going to be able to bring it home, especially without bringing out Polaris. I would have expected Polaris to come out by now, so at least it gets to untap itself once we move on to the next turn. Yeah, okay, that's a Clumsy Apprentice. For those of you who don't recognize, that's actually Clumsy Apprentice, the AMB one. Looking at that, I think I see a Cutthroat. Seems like we're gonna play what? Ooh, 4. Is that Arthur? Oh, a Gildas? I think it's Arthur. There he is. Arthur. Are we immortaling? Oh, we're not immortaling. We're just gonna hit. I mean, Arisana doesn't really do board clear, especially with the Polaris not on field yet. Because if this was if Polaris was already live, then you could just like level the 2 and just pop it. So in this situation, I think it's actually pretty decent to leave the Arthur, to just not use the Immortal effect, because Arisana really can't do anything about that outside of using Polaris. But yeah, this is a really awkward start. So now, I mean, he has to kind of just go GCR. He can't even backup charger in this spot. Going straight to level 2? No Dungeon Guide either. That's kind of nuts. Losing 2 Fertile Grounds. We're gonna... That's a 5 and a 1, so that's a Blight Root and an Aphasia. Or was it 4? Okay, it was an Aphasia. So that's at least 2 heals. Also, no pairs here, so a bit unfortunate on that end. Draw for turn, Dungeon Guide for turn, but you can't actually use it. We could eat this Blight Root to get a level. Eat the Blight Root, get a level, pop the Fragmented Spirit, and then Dungeon Guide to 3. But then the problem with that is we suddenly have no cards in hand. So I think you have to do nothing here. It's a bit too risky. I'd rather you go for the backup charger pass. So okay, he's gonna do this now. At least just get the draw. Now maybe we can draw into something good. Nascent Blast or Nascent Barrier is good. Oh wow, he's sending it. Luniel is going fast. But let's see if that kind of speed is something that's actually able to be controlled. Because right now I'm definitely thinking you're in a tough spot in this situation. I would have rather the backup charger, really, because at least backup charger and to dungeon guide the turn after. But now we at least get to actually he does get to take out the clumsy at least. That's something, and then we pass. Next turn we have to go GCR. There's no other option. Otherwise we have really nothing to do. Hitting no pair also really hurts. A pair would have been instrumental to making this whole game plan work. Also, not bringing out the Polaris at level 1, I think ended up actually... It would be up by now, so we could at least get rid of this Arthur here. Blazing Throw. 2 Blazing Throws. Blazing Throw, really strong card here. Of course, we don't have level 1, so we need that prep counter to get the Mercenary's Blade, and then we need to get 3 fire cards to get out Broken Soul Knife, so we could actually play both of these. Is that a Planted Explosive? No, it's a Cutthroat. There's a Cutthroat in hand. It doesn't seem like that crazy of a hand. I don't see, like, Vermilion Decrees, a lot of the fast speed stuff, but the dagger is live, so if he levels up next turn, then we can get into a position where if he can stick enough allies, but how do you stick allies against Polaris? That's the issue here. Oh, Chow Chow. She's definitely not surviving a Polaris, though. That's another issue with Wind or with Fire Xander is all his allies are so small that you don't even need to hit the big Polarises to clear most of them. And some well-timed Cosmic Bolts or Comet Falls could definitely put this game into the dirt. Mark the target as well. I think there's not really much to do. Maybe Cutthroat and then just swing. That definitely leaves you up to get blown up by the Polaris, though. Two down, that's looking like Cutthroat. Yeah, Cutthroat, swing for 2. So currently at... Oh god, they're not using life counters. Okay, he took 4 last turn, so currently at 8. 3 visits. Right, there was a 3 visits in Banish, so we get to have the potential to hit a Star Call card here. Hordic Counter. Hordic Counter is actually not bad to draw right now. You have a lot of errant herbs that you don't really need to keep. So we're going to draw into a Hordic Counter, though. That is kind of awkward. We have GCR. I mean, you have to go GCR. If you go Astroscope here, that's so risky. You just go GCR, you have Hordic Counter plus 2 cards in hand. And then you just try and play, you can play control with your... You can play the control game with your Polaris. You can at least pop the next board. And then you also have the Hordic Counter, so that can probably keep you alive. It also gets you a Glimpse in case you want to maybe try and spike a Comet Fall to kill something. I definitely think it's GCR here. Yeah, seems like he's also on that train of thought. Oh, is he changing his mind? Going to bring a pouch instead? We can't even play the pouch, can we? We only have one. We don't have a card in hand. Yeah, so I think this is a really risky pouch, actually. You don't have a card in hand, so you can't even use it. Oh, it's a Wisdom's Reprise. That's pretty good. Yeah, see, if you had GCR here, then... If you're going to try and spike an herb off this pouch, that's definitely an option, though. If he hits a pair here, that would be great. You're going to have to set either the Hordic Counter or the Wisdoms into memory, but maybe you don't need Wisdom's reprise just yet. Oh, he's gonna pass. Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't think it's wrong. The chance that you hit a pair is so it's very unreliable. So I can understand just going for the safe play and just holding both cards. Two Blazing Throws. Two Blazing Throws. If you want to get these off, you're going to need to have... One of them is Mercenary's Blade, and then the other one is going to have to be Soul Knife. I think there's only one fire card in grave, and it's this Cutthroat. If Arthur gets Polaris, that's 2. Then use one Blazing Throw, puts a 3rd in, then you can bring out the other one. So let's see what... If Paul can find the way to lethal here. Of course, there's also 2 heal herbs on field, so you have to remember that. There's also a Horde counter, so you also have to be really concerned about that as well. Ooh, Gilda's gone. We're going to bring out Xander 1. Yep, Xander 1. We're going to get our prep counter. We're going to get our glimpse. Rococo. Rococo really, really strong if we're going to try and go for the kill. But I think I want to say we're still a bit off, especially with the Horde counter in the hand. Horde counter potentially could negate 0 cost negate for 3, or it could be a 1 cost negate for 4, up to 4. I think there is an Incapacitate in his hand though. So that could come up, but chances are if he's going to be going for a kill, he's going to put all the cards in his hand down. So we'll see. I see no fast speed stuff, so it's definitely not as good as the dagger turn where you get to go pre-recollection, mark, pre-recollection, Vermilion Decree. So he kept one on top. We're going to draw into the Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, interesting choice to keep, considering that this deck doesn't really play allies. He's going to let this one go because he wants him to commit more allies before popping the Polaris. I agree. I mean, at this point, you can bring out a balanced Gildas, but that's definitely going to force out the Polaris at that point. Let's see what John Paul decides to do here. Oh, this is JP. Sorry, I couldn't tell that the picture is so small. JP from Whimsy. Yeah, this hand is kind of awkward. If we're gonna try and go for like the double Blazing Throw, we at least have to force the Polaris first. So we go 2 down. Are we gonna play? Ooh, we're gonna play Cutthroat. Are we gonna bite on this? Are we gonna let him commit even more? Seems like he took it. Oh, that's the damage from the Cutthroat. So it's gonna swing in for 4 actually. Or no, it would come in for 3. No, 4. Yeah, right. So he's really playing this a little bit fast and loose. He's letting these allies stack up. Wants to see if maybe JP will commit another one. Ooh, there's a Heated Vengeance. Next turn could bring out the Impact Hammer and try and go for that. And just gonna pass. Gets to hold up the Incapacitate at least. Yeah, seems like it's gonna be just a pass at this point. Phase, and then still not a pair.